Kentucky loses starting point guard Jalen Lowe, and how will this affect the team? And also, will Kentucky get a blowout against LSU on the road? Well, we're going to break it all down here on episode 115 of the Big Blue Breakdown.
The Big Blue Breakdown, from kickoff to tip-off.
Welcome in, everybody, to the Big Blue Breakdown, where we cover Kentucky football and basketball. I'm Jackson Thurman. I appreciate you guys listening to episode 115 here. And if you guys enjoy the show, help us out on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts by liking, subbing, and go check us out on social media at BigBlue_B-Down on TikTok, X, and Instagram. So in today's show, we're going to be talking about Kentucky versus LSU, obviously the preview here. Going to be talking about the update of Jalen Lowe, out for the year now, re-injured that shoulder in the Mississippi State game about 3 minutes into it, and he is officially out now for the year. That was per Mark Pope in his press conference on Monday. And then we're going to be talking about transfer portal for Kentucky football, and Will Stein is absolutely cooking in the transfer portal, and then I'm going to give you my final prediction and MVP for Kentucky versus LSU. But before we jump into today's episode, I want to give a quick shout out to our sponsor, W Energy. If you're looking for clean energy with no crash, no sugar, and no crash, W is the way to go. It helps me stay locked in for these game days, late nights, and all these breakdowns. If you want to try it out, make sure to use my code BIGBLUE10 at checkout for 10% off. That is BIGBLUE10. Okay, let's go ahead and talk about Jalen Lowe real quick. Going to kind of skip ahead from the Kentucky preview versus LSU to talk about starting point guard Jalen Lowe out now for the year. Out for the year after dislocating his shoulder again in the Mississippi State game, and will undergo surgery and will apply for a medical red shirt. He will apply for a medical red shirt, and if accepted, he will be granted 2 more years of eligibility. Obviously, we don't know if that does mean 2 more years at Kentucky or 2 more years at another school from the transfer portal, but he will have, for sure, 1 year left, but with a medical red shirt, and if that is accepted, 2 more years. I would love to see this guy back in Kentucky blue, because I do think he will definitely be missed. You lose your you lose your only true point guard on this team. Let's be completely honest. He was your only true point guard, and you lose him. He has a lead ball handler and someone who spaces at the floor, and someone who is a great assist man and can get downhill and go get his own. You lose him. Thank you, I almost said Jasper, excuse me. Thank you, Jalen Lowe, for the time that you have given Kentucky this season and really providing a spark for us in some of these bigger games. So thank you so much, Jalen, for that. So how does Kentucky handle this rotationally? So Jasper, I think, is going to need to be taking 70% of the reins. Jasper can create his own shot. He's really crafty and has a high upside. But also, Kentucky's going to have to do this by committee, with Denzel, Ortega, and Colin taking the load off of Jasper, along with whoever is playing the center position taking the load off of him. The center has to be part of the focal point of this offense now, like Amari Williams was last year. We've seen that be very, very much the case in Kentucky's win over Mississippi State with Malachi Moreno, and his ability to be at the top of the key and make these type of plays, and like Amari Williams was doing last year. So I really, really like that for the Cats. And if you can get that consistency from him, I think that is really going to help out Jasper. Not only help out Jasper and take the load of now being possibly about 70%. You're getting 70% of the run at PG1. It has a greater effect on the offense. And we've seen our sets be ran better with somebody at the top, Malachi, center, whoever our big man is at the game, at that point, run the sets, run it through them. And I think that will honestly help out Jasper and help out the offense in general. So if J-Cube is back, that also helps a lot. And the reason that helps a lot is because of his ability to be a lob threat for Jasper, which I think is overlooked. His ability to be athletic and to make plays for Jasper, and Jasper just doesn't have to go get his own all the time. He doesn't, but he can. The thing that's different from him and Jalen is his ability to create his own shot from the 3-point line and knock that down. But his ability, and he is a tight ball handle. He, again, a high upside guy. And this is a guy that is a 5-star recruit coming into high school. Has not played a bunch. What I did like not earlier this year, in the lower competition, Kentucky was running him at PG1 to kind of get those reps in and get that kind of the ball rolling for him in that aspect. And I think that's only going to show up for him later on and getting more experience. He's only going to get better running this offense. And again, the load can be taken off of him by a lot if done right. So this would be my starting lineup if it was me moving forward. And then others that should rotate in, a lot. My starting lineup would be Jasper, Zell. I keep saying Zell, but it's Aberdeen, Otega, Cam, and Malachi. That would be my starting 5 to start out. Obviously, with Jaden Quains, I would still bring Jaden Quains off the bench even if he is healthy. Because I truly trust in Malachi right now. Others that should be rotated in a lot is Yelovich, Mo, Colin, and BG. Also, obviously, JQ, if he is available. That is a Jalen Lowe news, and I believe that's the rotation that should be used a lot in the next coming of games if used right. I think that can be a very, very dangerous rotation and lineup for the Cats moving forward. So let's go and jump into Kentucky versus LSU. So LSU is 12-4 overall and 0-3 in SEC play. Their only major opponent wins is against Boston College, who ranks 153rd on KenPom, and their best overall win is against SMU, who ranks 32nd on KenPom. They have now lost 3 games in a row to South Carolina, Texas A&M, and Vandy. On KenPom, they rank 40th overall, 38th offense, 69th defense, with 167th adjusted tempo. What does LSU do well? Well, LSU so far this year overall is an elite 2-point scoring team. They rank among the top teams nationally in 2-point shooting percentage, 61.3%, and most of their points come at the rim on high percentage close range shots. The Tigers shoot a strong field goal percentage, 51.6%, placing them in the top tier nationally in efficiency. I want to make a quick note here. This is all against bad teams, so take that as you will. Their numbers in SEC play have not been good, but overall their numbers have been good in that area. Kind of have to know that if it's overall for them. LSU is averaging about 26.7 free throw attempts per game, which ranks roughly 17th nationally. That is on a really, really good shooting percentage of 78%. Some impact players for LSU. Deedon Thomas, 2 points, 7.1 assists, 49.3% from the field. Mike Nwaka, I believe is how you say his name, 15.1 points per game, 5.1 rebounds, and 70% from the field. So he's taking a lot of really, really good 2-point shots. Here's the news for LSU, though. I don't think I don't think it's officially came out, but Deedon Thomas has been dealing with injuries, and so their best player in Deedon Thomas, who was very crafty, very shifty guard, could possibly be out in their game against the Cats on the road. What this team does not do well. 3-point shooting. They are not a good 3-point shooting team at all. They average 20.5 3-point attempts a game, which is 276 nationally in volume, and 3-point shooting, and also shoot a bad 33% from 3. So they don't rank high in volume, sitting at 276, and they also shoot a bad 33% from beyond the arc. They don't turn it over, only 6.2 steals a game, and they turn it over about 11.3 times a game. So I think Kentucky can take advantage in that aspect of turning this team over and getting out in transition. They gave up a higher shooting percentage to teams that like to push the pace and get out in transition. That is really, really big for the Cats, a team that struggles against better teams that get out in transition, and that's what the Cats do well. And also they played a weak schedule, which ranks 167th on opponent net rating. So their average opponent net rating is 167th, which is horrible. So this team has not played good teams, and they're currently 0-3 in SEC play, where I think they have the worst loss in the SEC at home against South Carolina. Torvik still has LSU as the favorite, 78-75, with a 42% chance for the Cats. I don't think that's right at all. From what I've seen, what this team has shown me, not just on paper, but in watching their highlights in their games, they have not shown me a lot. And I think Kentucky can take advantage of that. So I'm going to quickly give you guys some keys to a win for the Cats. Don't have a slow start. Please do not have a slow start where you get behind, 12 to 14 points, even though we did it against Mississippi State. Don't have a slow start. My next thing would be lead at the half. Kentucky is still undefeated in games that they have led at the half. Don't make this another game where you have to come from behind. Make this a win where you controlled this game. And I think that's where Kentucky plays into their favor. And they are undefeated leading at half. Second thing, I'm going to keep harping on this. Push the pace. We're not a very good half-court offense at all, and we've seen that. How do we generate points? Push the pace. Hit 8 threes. I'm going to continue to harp on this one as well. We hit 8 threes. I feel like we're in a really good position because we're not a great three-point shooting team, and our ability to get to the free throw line and get to the rim, and you add in these 8 threes, going to be big for the Cats moving forward just in general. Last thing is limit them inside, get second chance opportunities. And the reason I say get second chance opportunities is because they rank 76th nationally in defensive rebounds, which is solid. But if you're able to take away one of the best things that they do defensively, because their number defensively is not good, get second chance opportunities, you're going to give yourself more chances, obviously, to score. Okay, before we continue on today's episode of the Big Blue Breakdown, I want to shout out Bluegrass Elite, your go-to brand for Kentucky apparel. If you want high-quality gear that really represents Big Blue Nation, whether it's for game day, campus, or everyday wear, Bluegrass Elite has you covered. Make sure you check them out and use my code BBB15 for 15% off at checkout. That's BBB15 for 15% off at checkout. So my prediction for this game. I'm going to go and give you my prediction, and I'm going to talk about the transfer portal, and Will Stein is absolutely cooking for the Cats. So my prediction for this game, 17-point win for the Cats. 17-point win for the Cats. 88-71. My MVP, again, I said this one last time, Otega. He's going to dominate in transition. This LSU team is horrid and should blow out and Kentucky should blow out the Tigers. This should not be a basketball game. They have shown absolutely nothing in their major opponent games this year, except for getting blown out. And this team statistically is not good. What I've seen on the tape is not good, and they could be missing their best player in Deaton Thomas. So this brings me to the last portion of this episode. Will Stein and the Cats are cooking in the transfer portal. Overall, right now, I don't know if this changed. It has changed yet. From earlier today, they ranked 6th overall with 22 commits. Now, I think that number has went up maybe a couple of 22 commits. We got the Louisville wide receiver today, and I believe a walk-on quarterback, if they're counting that as a transfer. I want to take a look at some positions here, and this is the most, except for the Louisville wide receiver, I don't have him on here right here, but everybody else is more recent and guys that we really haven't talked about yet. So let's start with the Big Blue Wall. Oh my goodness, Will Stein and this staff is putting together a legit Big Blue Wall, and we're gonna start with Elias Allenheim. He's from Alabama, 3-star, 48th overall offensive tackle, 708th overall. Then you have Colton Price, 4-star, first interior offensive lineman, and 40th overall player. Really big pickup right there from Baylor. And then you move on to Lance Hurd, who is from Tennessee, 4-star, second overall offensive tackle, 25th overall in the transfer portal rankings. Mark Robinson, who is from UTEP, 3-star, 71st offensive tackle, 170th overall player. More of a depth piece right there. And then you bring us to our most recent pickup on this offensive line is Tegra Tashabola, who is the second interior offensive line and 91st overall player. man, is Will Stein cooking on this offensive line. He has brought in some legit guys and some depth pieces here, but Tegra, Lance, Colton Price are legit from the jump here. And we also had another one. This is way back I'll say way back, a couple of days ago, which feels way back, for the transfer portal, but another Tennessee offensive lineman committed, and this was before Lancer. Quick break for water. Okay, moving on here. Kentucky also picks up their backup quarter. Well, I don't want to say backup, a depth quarterback, a backup quarterback, because I think Mac Ponatoski could be the backup quarterback for this Cats team. So Ja'Kai Long is a pickup for Marshall for depth here. I mean, he had a little bit of playing time at Marshall. And then running backs, you get your guy in CJ Baxter. He's from Texas, 3-star, 11th running back in the portal, 143rd overall player. This guy coming out of high school is the number one player in the class. Number one running back in the class, excuse me. A very, very big pickup here for the Cats. Very, very big. He's done with a lot of injuries throughout his career, so that's why his production really hasn't been there all that well. But then you move on to 47th overall ranked running back, and Javonte Barnes, 3-star from Oklahoma, 511th overall player. Very, very solid piece right here. I actually really liked his production from Oklahoma. Then you pick up some depth pieces at wide receiver, Ja'Caden Ferguson from Arkansas, 3-star. And then you pick up Xavier Daisy, 192nd overall wide receiver, and the 1,200th best player coming in. And then you pick up a very, very big defensive pickup here. Linebacker Elijah Barnes, Texas, 8th overall linebacker and 129th overall player in the portal. Will Stein is cooking. Also, Elijah Barnes was the number one overall linebacker coming into high school. He's going to be a freshman, a redshirt freshman this year. So I appreciate you guys tuning in this one. Kentucky should get a win tomorrow against LSU. Will Stein is cooking in the portal. Only bad news here is that Jalen Lowe is out for the year. But I appreciate you guys tuning into this episode of the Big Blue Breakdown, and I will catch you guys tomorrow for a post-game live. And as always, go Cats.